Hi, this is Mr. T with another sheet metal ductwork fabrication layout and fabrication project. So this is going to be a straight reducing duct, okay? So we are going to go from 6x4 on this end to 4x4 on that end. We're making it a two-piece project. So we're going to do bottom and the two sides as one, and then we'll cap it with the second piece, okay? So we've already done our calculations, cut our cut size, cut our pieces to size. So we're going to start our layout. Again, we're going to start at the bottom left-hand corner, left to right, bottom to top, okay? So my first dimensions up are going to be my 1/2 inch and my 1 inch for my big end. And then starting left to right, the first dimension I'm going to have is my 1/4 inch for my Pittsburgh return, but I'm not going to mark that all the way. I'm just going to mark a little bit of that line because I just need that intersection, okay? I'm going to cheat because I already pre-checked my part and it's the right dimension, so I'm going to put my 1/4 inch also on the other side, okay? So going left to right, I have a 6-inch dimension, a 4-inch dimension, and another 6. So starting from the left, I'm going to do my first 6-inch dimension, then I'm going to do my 4-inch dimension, and if I did it right, I got 6 left over, which I do. So now I'm going to carry those lines straight up. I'm going to use a framing square, because my piece is 12 inches long. I don't want to use a combination square, it wouldn't reach. You don't want to square from one side and then flip it to the other side. You want to try to carry a dimension straight. So again, using a framing square, slide over to my dimension, draw my line. Do the same thing for my other dimension. Now I'm just going to do a quick check. So I should have 6 1/4 plus 4, I would have 10 1/4, and I should have 6 1/4 left over, which I do. So I know my part's square, my lines are square. So I don't have to really measure it, but by double checking it, I know my part's square. Okay? So next I have to do that same 1/2 inch and 1 inch on the top. And again, depending on if we're using slip and drive cleats or TDC, is going to depend on what the big end and small end looks like. So next I already have my 4 in the center, but I need my 2 4-inch dimensions on the outside. And again, those are measured on my 1-inch line. So I got my 4 inches there. I got my 4 inches there. Now, I just have to connect from intersection to intersection to get my slant line. And I'm not drawing this line all the way out, I'm just drawing it from intersection to intersection. Now I just have to add my 1/4 inch on either side for my Pittsburgh return. So again, I want it parallel, so I don't want to hold my rule straight. I want to hold it so basically it's perpendicular or 90 degrees to my line or thereabouts. So I'm going to get a true 1/4 inch dimension. Now this one I'm going to go for my 1-inch line on the top, and I'm going to bring it all the way out on the piece. I'm going to do the same on the other side. The last, I would just have to add my angles for depending on what type of connection I'm doing on my ductwork. Slip and drive, TDC, whatever the case might be. We're just setting up the slip and drive, so I'm going to do my 45-degree angles. I'm just going to continue these two marks out, 90 degrees. Now I have my intersection point for my angles. Do all my angles one way, left to 45 degrees. Do all my angles the other way. So now I have the main body of my part. So if you measure this slant line, even though this is 10 inches from line to line, my slant line isn't going to measure 10 inches. Okay? It's actually 10 1/4 inch. So again, we already pre-cut the parts, but this is my wrapper part or my top for the part. Both sides are going to get a Pittsburgh lock. Top and bottom, I'm just going to get my 1 inch for big end, small end. So use my scratch gauge. So I have my 10 1/4 from line to line, which will now match my slant side. Okay? So again, all I got to do is add my angles. Again, because at 45s, I can kind of cheat. I don't have to flip it side to side. So basically, I'm just going to notch out the corners and that little bit of an angle. So that takes care of the layout part. Okay, before I do my notching with snips, I'm actually going to use the shear to cut my long, straight slant lines. Line it up with the shear blade to my line. Again, line it up with my slant line. And then cut my slant. Now using my snips, I'm just going to finish all my cutting. Put on my safety glasses and gloves. I'm going to start by removing the corners. Now I'll just go back and do all my angle cutting. Cut all my notching on my body. Now I'll cut the notching, and again start with the corners. And I'll just go back and do my angles. And my 2 parts are cut. Next, I'm going to start forming my pieces, so I'm going to start with the Pittsburgh locks on the rack. Next step is my forming. So I'm going to start with the body. I'm going to do my 2 1/4-inch return flanges for the Pittsburgh first, and then my dimensions in the middle for 9. Now working from the break out, I'll do my first 90-degree bend. And then my second. So I have the basic shape of my reducer. Okay. Last, this is going to be my wrapper, or my top part. The last thing I got to do is just kick bend an up and down here, because we want perpendiculars, we want parallels on each end. So one's going to be up and one's going to be down, and it's only going to be about a 15 to 20-degree bend. Again, bending across a Pittsburgh, going to adjust my clamp pressure. Just a little bit of a kick bend. So there's my up. Here's my down. So I will end up with parallels at both ends. So last thing I have to do now is just knock all my parts together. So starting from one end, I'll pop my Pittsburgh together, make sure my ends line up. Once I got my parts together, I can just hammer the rest of the Pittsburgh over. And again, we would just finish our ends with whatever connection we're making for our ductwork. And there is a straight reducer 4x4 to 6x4 duct.